Hello, and welcome to the latest in our ImpactWayv podcast series, Making an Impact. I'm Karen Talamelli, and today we will be talking about financial literacy with Patrina Dixon. Patrina is a personal finance coach, an international speaker, and award-winning author of the top-selling financial guided book series, It's My Money. Welcome, Patrina. I am so thrilled to have you here. So would you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and It's My Money's mission?
Sure. Thank you, Karen, for having me here. I'm so excited. I'm glad we met at the most recent press conference regarding financial literacy being required for high school students in Hartford or in Connecticut, excuse me. So my name is Patrina Dixon. As you mentioned, I am a financial educator and the founder and CEO of It's My Money. It's My Money is my trademark brand where I teach financial literacy across the world to many people, students and adults alike. I've been doing that now. March 6th marked the 7th year for which I do that in schools, universities, prisons, churches, wherever people need financial literacy, I am there. My mission is to make people more financially astute. I want to ensure that people have the necessary information to have a great financial foundation. So people want to build houses and you don't build houses with the roof. You want to first have a great foundation, a solid foundation as you begin to build wealth in any form that you would like to do that in. So that's my mission, is to make more financially sound, more financially astute individuals so that they could begin to build wealth and transform their lives as well as that of their families.
That's spectacular. And I've seen people who have benefited from your classrooms, and the excitement that you exhibit right now is the excitement that seems to follow you. And one of the things, we just touched on is this isn't like a program that is geared for people who have little money. It really is beneficial to people at all income levels. Or if you have money, how do you manage that money properly?
Absolutely. And Karen, I think some of the misconception is that people that don't make a lot of money or live in certain areas are the only people who need financial education. And in the time that I've been doing this work, I found not the opposite, but it's more than just a certain subset of people that need financial education. No matter how much money you make, if you don't know how to manage it, then you don't know how to manage it, right? So you can make $500 a week, $500 a day, or $5,000 a day, or $5,000 a week. It's the same. You will go through it the same, meaning frivolously, if you don't know how to manage the money that you have. So oftentimes people want to make more, and the buzz term is, or amount is, six figures, right? And when that happens, if you don't know how to manage what you currently make, when you begin, and hopefully everyone will, makes multiple six figures, you know how to manage it and not look back and say, what did I do? Like, what do I have? I made this amount of money, but I have nothing to show for it. Like, our goal, and the goal of It's My Money, is to ensure that one, have a solid foundation, financial foundation, know how to manage and budget what you have, and then learn to make money passively. So you're not just trading time for money. But those are things that are not taught consistently, at least in the state of Connecticut. And you don't just, it doesn't just happen. It's not an intuitive thing. You have to understand how to do it and how to do it in a way that benefits you. And that's again, the purpose of It's My Money.
Yeah, as you said, you are available to any age across the board. But have you found that there's so much emphasis on sometimes, and this is not that it's not important, grades, extracurricular activities, and all the things that are focused on to improve a college experience for your future, but without a sound financial education, or at least an introduction to it, that these students don't realize it is an investment in their future to know these things. And you just right off the bat with student loans and easy credit cards, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I don't know of one thing that a person can do at a young age, like once they start their first job, or when you become an adult, that money is not involved. Like I don't care what type of business it is. If it's a business making coffee mugs, as I have right here, you have to understand how many, what it takes to get the materials in to make the mug, what's your return on that investment or cost of goods to be able to sell, and then minus out the cost that it costs to make it, so that you know what the profit is. If you don't understand money and the foundation of money, no matter what business you go in, you will not be able to you will not be able to progress in the way that you can if you understand how money works. So when I say how money works, it's just not the making of money, it's the banking system. Understanding that when you have your money saved in a high yield savings account, you will earn more money on your money than you have it in a brick and mortar savings account or in a checking account. So if you don't know that and you just open up a checking account at your local bank, and that's where you have your paycheck deposited, and that's all you know, and you keep going, even at that little variance in percentage and interest earned on your money can make a difference. So you can have a 0.01 from the average brick and mortar bank earned on your money in a savings account, or you can have like a 3.45, which is different and higher if you have it in a high yield savings account. So just that alone, and then that compounding over a period of time, that particular nugget of information is not something someone would know. So no matter what you do in life, money is needed. How much is needed varies, but understanding what you have, what you need to spend, prioritizing needs over wants, those are things that must be taught and assessed and reiterated and reiterated and reiterated for anyone at any age until it's mastered.
And I think that's another point that you reminded me of is this generally, or in many cases, is not a subject that's broached at home. And sometimes it's like taboo at home, so you don't learn it. What I found interesting, just learning more about you and other educators on this, so oftentimes the students who take the course bring this lesson home. It's probably talked about more than history or geometry or the latest book you're reading, and those lessons have such a profound positive effect on their parents and other family members.
Yeah, and Karen, you hit on a really good point, right? It's really less often taught at home because there's a lot of adults that are not great with their money, right? And as a parent, I'm a parent. Most parents, no, not most, parents are your first hero or child's first hero, right? And if you are vulnerable in such an important area, meaning the management of money, that's not one that you would talk about with your children. Oftentimes, children will hear what I would say they would have bad thoughts about money because you don't have enough. You're told, no, you can't get XYZ. You can't go and have the pizza party because your parents don't have the money to do so. So oftentimes when I'm meeting with young kids, so in high school, they do go home and talk to parents, and parents would call me up and want to know, like, can I work with them so they can better understand some of these topics so that they can have these conversations at the dinner table. So that's actually one of the goals when talking with young people. One, we want them to have the information, understand early how to manage their money and have a solid foundation of financial topics in financial information, financial education. And then that they may be the catalyst into the home where now the parents want to understand better. Now at the dinner table, the students are talking with the parents about what they've learned, and then the conversation can broaden once that happens. But you're right, it's not happening in a lot of homes. And sometimes it's not because the parents don't want to, it's sometimes twofold. The parents don't know themselves, or the time just isn't there. Like they out making more money or making money to be able to have the roof over their head, the food, at the table. Mm-hmm. So sometimes they're not there to have the conversation because they need to go to work and do the things that they need to do. So there's so many reasons why we need to help our kids understand the financial concepts and master them, because some come out of high school and have to go right into the working force, right? So the workforce, and where are they going to get it then? right? Do they, even if they go on to college, I have talked to college students who are in credit card debt in their first year in college, not their fourth year, their first year, because they signed their name on the line because they didn't have money. They saw this plastic as a way to get some things that they may want or need, and now they're in debt. Now they owe more than whatever they purchased because the interest rate on the credit card, that piece they didn't understand. They just knew I signed my name, I got a few orders of DoorDash, so I owe this credit card company potentially $40. I didn't have enough to pay the $40, or I only have the minimum balance of $4 or minimum payment of $4 to pay. And then now I have a balance I'm carrying. They're charging me 29% on it. It just goes on and on. So when they begin to understand when they begin to get into the credit game, I call it, like with credit cards, how it works, so that they know I don't tell people they have to make their own decisions, but they are more informed in making those decisions. So if you choosing to go the credit card route, I encourage them to first know how to manage money, budgeting, etc. Then if you decide to do that, understand how credit works, right? Because it's easy to mess up your credit. It's hard to fix it. So it's important to understand what the biggest component of your credit score is, and needing to do that by paying your credit card on time. Understand when your credit is not great, then you may be able to get that credit card, but the interest on any of the balance left each month may be high. And then if you pay that small payment, you're really never, or taking a long time to pay the credit card off, because the interest rate is just tracking with your payment. So you pay an amount, you have interest, so it really just knocks out whatever you paid. So those are the kind of concepts that I teach young people, so that they understand when they go the credit route, the impacts that it could have. So I teach them how to use credit responsibly if they feel like they're ready to go into the credit card side of things.
And that is so important, because it affects their future.
Yes.
Doing it in a very even more than responsible, knowledgeable, using more thought into the repercussions. Having a good one will help you get maybe that car or a house. And as you said, even better rates in doing so. You might be able to get the car, you might be able to get something, but you're going to be paying a lot more than somebody with good credit. So those decisions, good and bad, have an effect on your future.
That's right. I even show them example. You mentioned car because, you're a college student. That's, something that becomes a purchase during that time. And we talk about you can have two students with the same exact car, same kind of car, same color, same tint, same aux, because everybody needs their aux cord for their music, right? Same thing. But depending on, so one person can have good credit, one person can have, less desirable credit. Those people are paying different amounts a month for the same car, and interest rates for the same car based on what their credit was prior to purchasing that car. So it's really important, because a lot of people look at and compare themselves to the next person, right? But a person could be a car payment away from a repossession. Yeah, you don't know that, right? A person could be driving around in a car that they're paying an arm and a leg for, and you just see like, oh, they have a car, why can't I? And I'm in college, or I work at a company, whatever it is. And instead of, I always say personal finance is just that. It's personal. It's personal to you, what you make and what you have to pay, what your needs and wants are. So you can't compare it to the next one. And it's really important to understand your credit impacts your overall money, because your interest rate, depending on if it's high or low, determines how much you pay out on a monthly basis. So if your credit is bad, what you're paying out is more than what you could pay if you had better credit.
Yeah, if you go into it with the knowledge as to how to do, because there is a way, and it would be a good thing to manage a credit card to create a good credit rating without getting trapped. If you go in with your eyes wide open with the plan how to create a desirable credit rating for yourself, so that going forward you have some credit established when in fact you're going to need it.
Well, you're exactly right, which is why I start with you need to be able to manage the money, right? Right. So if
Mhm.
you know how to budget and manage what you have coming in and going out, so when you then go into the credit side of it, then you know, okay, now this is a bill that I have to integrate into my budget, and then
Yeah.
make sure that you have, have that line item so that when that bill comes, you can take care of it, right? So we go into that. We go into trying to pay off the entire amount that you spent, or at a very minimum, make sure that you do not carry a balance that's more than, I say 25% versus the 30, which people say. So make sure that your balance that you carry on the card is less than 30% of your available credit. So we go into that and how that plays a role into your overall credit score. But you're right. For those that are ready to do that, that's fine. But let me tell you how to do that to your advantage. And that's what we talk through.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking about, life is so much different than when I had my first job and whatever. And, like people say, you look at it and what is FICA, or, truly balancing a checkbook. There are so many advances in technology, in banking, stocks. There's so much more to consider. And there's an ease of doing business, which is wonderful, but it could be a curse as well when you're just doing everything on the phone, and it's like play money sometimes because you don't see it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's part of the design, right? Is that no matter if you're using, technology to do your transactions, banking transactions, bill payment, etc., you still need to know what you have coming in and what you have coming out. I think, and I chuckle when I talk about this because I encourage people, especially that have never budgeted before, to do pen and paper. There's a ton of apps out there. I do think people, once you get it down, pen and paper, you can graduate to those apps. But regardless of how you make the transaction, if you do it online through the bank's app or whichever app that you're doing it to make the payments, to get the money in, send the money out, you still need to budget. You have to write down what you have coming in, write down what you have going out. The budget doesn't say go out via cash. It's just go out. If it's an electronic transaction, it's electronic transaction, but you still need to understand what you have coming in, what you have going out. Not understand, you need to know.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing, Karen, every single penny, like not just those with due dates. You need to know, how much am I spending on XYZ from this paycheck? And then if you do it using your card, that's perfectly fine because you've accounted for it in your budget. So yeah, I agree. And it is, sometimes people say having no credit, is that as bad as having bad credit? I'm not going to say as bad, but your credit report and your credit history gives whomever that you're looking to access credit from, a loan, get an apartment, etc. They're looking at, did you commit to someone before, i.e. get a line of credit, a loan, etc. And did you honor what you said you would do? Pay the set dollar amount every month based on what you got, what you borrowed. That's what your credit report tells them. If that credit report says you did not, that's a sign to them as your character. You said you were going to do X, you did not, so you got a lower rating based on how your history was with that particular creditor. So it's really important to have some type of credit when you get into that stage of the game, because that's what you will be rated on. If there's nothing there, and I always equate, especially when I talk to students, if you have a class, history, Spanish, English, whatever the class is, and you don't go to class, or you go to class, you never take a test, you never take a quiz, what are you going to be graded on? There's nothing there for them to give you a grade on. And it's the same with credit. If you don't have anything, there's nothing to give you a score on. So that's why it's really important to understand how it's done and what it means to those that look at it. So yeah, those are things that I get into with those I get in front of as well.
Yeah, no, it's so important. There was a friend of mine. You live near in Windsor right now. Windsor Locks, Connecticut, had like tobacco farms all over, and there. I remember a friend of mine was an insurance agent, and these families who own them, old families going back, always paid everything in cash, and then they were wondering why their auto insurance was skyrocketing, and apparently your auto insurance is based on your credit history, because it is shown that people with good health, for some reason, for the adjusters and the appraisers looking into this, and they had no credit history because everything they paid was cash. Like you said, there was nothing there. So it's so amazing.
Yeah.
But before we end, I noticed, I thought this was interesting. You have, I hope people do check out your website, which I put here. It's mymoney.info. It's very, it's interesting. You could contact Patrina here. But you even talk about side hustles, which I thought was so cool because you hear about them now. So, side hustles are great, but what do you do with that money to make those side hustles particularly meaningful? So you seem to cover it all. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, why, thank you. So side hustles is, one of my favorite topics, right? What I try to tell people as it pertains to side hustles. So by definition, side hustles is something that you do in addition to your main income, whatever that is. It could be a 9 to 5, it could be a 5 to 9, whatever that is. And you do something on the side to make additional money. Now, what it's not is a second job. And I say that distinction because oftentimes people are working at jobs because they have to make money to take care of themselves, their family, their homes, etc. The side hustle should be something you're very skilled at and or have a passion for that can solve a problem for somebody else or bring you additional money in. So I tell people when side hustles are a problem solver, they tend to be very successful. So I'll give you an example. If you are a busy person, man or woman, and you don't have time to do certain tasks that you need to have done in your life, and somebody comes and offers that the service for you for the things that you need to do, and they can do that and they do it really well, a person would pay for whatever that service is. So it could be a service or a product. So if you can serve that up as a side hustle, you love doing that thing. The person that needs the service do not like it or don't have time, then you can monetize something on what you enjoy doing, what you are very skilled in doing. I'll give you a couple of examples, especially for students that I talk with. There's a lot of students that are phenomenal in certain subjects. They can be tutors for those that need help in that certain subject because the other students just can't get it. Maybe it's they need to hear it a different way. Maybe they need it broken down differently. And this person has mastered doing whatever that subject is or that particular class. They can become tutors to those that need help in that. For business owners, we all, and you and I, Karen, you and I talked about this today, you need a social presence, but sometimes you don't have time to deliver the social presence as often as needed because these algorithms need certain things to go through, etc. So you can have a social media manager in somebody that enjoys doing it. They know how to do it well, and that can help your business. So that's another way where you can have a side hustle. I know people that have worked on my social media pages, we meet together, we go through what I want for the week or the month, and they do all that stuff on one night. They don't need to do it every day. No, seriously, they do.
No, I get it.
One day, do the whole week, have it all scheduled. But now they have made money from me in their side business. Because they work a regular job, but or not, when I say regular, they work a main job, let's call it. Right. And then they are a social media manager for a small business owner. They do it really well so they can complete it in a much faster pace than I can. I pay them because I need it for my business, and it has saved me time versus me lumping around trying to figure out how to do it. So that's another example, social media helping small business owners or even larger companies with social media presence. So there's so much editing. There's people that are bloggers, that are authors that need editors. If you're great in English and you you get your cup of coffee and you start editing documents for people that need that help. That's another thing that somebody can do in college or do that have a 9 to 5. The list is just endless. Like I talk about this a lot because I think people think it's this type of side hustle. I have to do this thing. I'll spend a lot of time on it. No, it's stuff that you know how to do well, oftentimes passionate in, and you don't mind doing it after you get off from work, right? You don't mind doing it on a Saturday. Saturday. We're sitting here talking. I can talk about this all day long because it doesn't feel like work to me, right? It's something that I'm passionate about, and it could help the next person. And that's how you marry those two together.
Yeah, it's so great because I could see that you're doing something you really like, and it's like, oh my gosh, and somebody's going to pay me for this.
Exactly. Exactly. I was talking to a college student who, I don't know if you know this, but now it's a little bit TMI. But when the pandemic started, I was, one of those, I'm not going to the grocery store, I'm not going to Walmart, etc. So I had my groceries delivered to me. And it's, for me, it started with the pandemic. I didn't do it prior. But when that started happening, and I'm like, wait a minute, so I don't have to go to the grocery store and find a parking spot, go in line. I haven't stopped doing it. So when I said to this young man, because he was looking for, many ways to make money while he was in college on the side, right? Because in college, your main job is doing well in college, but you want to earn money on the side. So he was
parents hope so.
Yeah, he became it's the suggestion was you could be like and I'm not going to name the college, but you could be like the college Instacart person if you wanted to do that. Like, people need the stuff. They have time for class. Some of them don't have cars on campus. And that's another way. Like, it's just endless. I think people think, oh, it has to be one of these 5 things. It's not. It's like, what do people need? Are you skilled in that or passionate in doing that? Can deliver that and monetize that. That means make the money off of doing it. I tell the story. If somebody asks me something 5 times, if I get asked this question 1 time, then 2 and 3, all the way to 5, I'm like, that becomes an ebook. So when somebody asks me, oh, do you know how to do XYZ? And that get asked of me 5 times, now the 6th person, I'm like, oh yeah, I created an ebook. Go to my Etsy store. So now you're making money passively, or something that somebody's always asking you about. Now you just created it in, a 10-page ebook that they can go and purchase and download whenever they want.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I think you gave me my next side hustle.
Listen, you could do one on StreamYard. Here are the 5 tips on how to have a great podcast via StreamYard, because not everybody knows StreamYard platform. A lot of people use other things, but StreamYard, I wouldn't know how to use StreamYard. I've been on it for other shows, but you just taught me how to find the background. Oh. I didn't even know they had it in StreamYard. I knew it was in Zoom. I didn't know it was in StreamYard. There you go.
Thank you, Patrina. And I have been asked this, I think, at least 4 or 5 times. So here you go. This has been a very useful in so many ways for me, but it is such a pleasure to have you. This has been so wonderful. I'm so grateful for your time, and I hope we could do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Karen, it's always a pleasure to talk about financial literacy. I appreciate you for having me on your show. It was wonderful meeting you, and absolutely we could do this again. For those of you watching, I appreciate you watching. My name is Patrina Dixon. My name is right below. I'm across all social media at It's My Money _ You see it there. I'm also, you can Google my name. It's Patrina Dixon, with a P, like in Precious. So it's Patrina Dixon, and my email address is there as well. I'd love for you to go into my website. I do have a newsletter that I send out on a very regular basis with financial tips, so you can check me out there as well.
Okay, we have all of this, and it'll be on the podcast, and all this information will be in the description wherever you reach your podcast, on YouTube or all the audio channels. But Patrina Dixon, I thank you so much for joining me. I hope we get a chance to talk again soon and raise awareness on the importance of financial literacy. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thanks.